Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 86 of the J Situation podcast. I'm recording this on November 2nd, 2021. How are you folks doing? Man, I hope your Halloween was wonderful, and I hope you had lots of good candy. I like candy corn. Personally, it's one of my favorite types of candy, so I only eat it at Halloween. Don't really munch on that during the normal part of the year, but when it comes to Halloween time, I like to get a good bag of candy corn. And I only have one preferred brand of candy corn. There are some different ones, but it's hit or miss. It's really just one main brand you got to stick to. So good. So anyway, I hope all you folks had your favorite candy. And guys, really quick, couple of quick notes for you. I'm gonna hit them rapid fire, so I don't want to belabor these points. First of all, dwell time on your AR. That is the time it takes to go from gas port to muzzle. Okay, you are using silencers. So if you want the least craziness happening with your gun and you want it easily tunable, use a low dwell time, guys. Okay, if anyone is telling you differently, they either are not using silencers or they're using a really low back pressure silencer or they don't understand silencers. And it could be all three of those things. I don't know. Could be anything. So just be careful. All right. Second thing, cam lock. Don't lube that taper. It's going to loosen. That system needs improvement. And hopefully those improvements happen soon. It's not doing what consumers want it to do. From who I've talked to and my testing, and I'm still using it, but just we're trying to get information out there for folks so they can best use it so they don't have a bad time. And one of the things that seems to be helping is not lubing that taper. All right. So that is some advice. And the third and final thing, and this is kind of a general thing, but it's just been a problem more recently, even more recently than in the past. And this is just kind of a helpful hint to everyone. Be careful on online gun forums, guys. Like, some companies, they pose as consumers and they infiltrate your discussions and you might not know. And so you just be really careful who you're speaking with, guys, and just know who you're speaking with, because they're in full force and it's getting kind of bad. So just know they're going to be in there and they're going to try to control those narratives. So be educated consumers. Always look at data. All right, don't take people's word for it. Just be careful. Okay, I'm going to stay positive here. Just wanted to help you folks out. So now that those things are out of the way, let's talk about silencers. If you're hunting this season and you don't have a silencer yet, bro, right now is probably the time to start shopping so you can have one by next deer season in 2022. It is. When you finally decide on one or 5 or however many silencers you're going to buy, one possible place to buy them from is Silencer Shop. The J Situation podcast is proudly sponsored by Silencer Shop, the most efficient and intelligent way to purchase silencers. It is. They are, they're what I like. I mean, excuse me. They're really what I like, guys. They've done a lot of great stuff. Obviously, they've ramped up the sale of silencers nationwide. That's no secret. But I like the efficiency of their systems. I like the convenience of the biometric information stored in their systems, like your fingerprints and your photos. And I like the QR code on the form that you scan that prevents a high incident of government data entry errors. I like all that stuff. And it's just an easy system to use. And I'm busy. And a lot of you are busy too. So there you go. I mean, that's really my endorsement of these folks. They're great. And here's another thing. Here's another thing that's kind of cool about Silencer Shop. They're pretty good folks. Like, they don't seem to do a lot of bad things as they sell products, right? So anytime you're selling widgets, Sometimes there's a motivation to do different things, and they seem pretty up and up, guys. They have a pretty good structure for all their dealers and stuff, and they sell a lot of different manufacturers, so it seems reasonable. So, are they perfect? Probably not. No one is, but they're pretty good. So yeah, simplify your silencer purchasing process. They got a money back guarantee. You don't pay a transfer fee when you use them. There's no paperwork errors typically. So yeah, it's just you and your silencer with no drama. It truly is silencer ownership simplified. It is. Some pretty good folks at Silencer Shop. Powerful Silencer Shop. But a very important sponsor of this podcast, in addition to Silencer Shop, is PEW Science. Pushing the silencer industry forward, one test at a time. Visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating. The simplest, the most accurate hearing safe ratings for your suppressed small arms. There is no other sound rating that is based on true human sound perception other than the suppression rating in the world for small arm weapon systems. There is nothing else. Okay? I created this for you. Yeah, for you. The person listening. Yeah, you. Me? Yeah, you. No, I did. I created it for myself and for you. Okay, this is what we needed as silencer consumers, and now we have it. All right, it's in Section 5 of the Silencer Sound Standard. It walks you through gunshot noise, sort of like Wikipedia, but let's be honest, it's super cool because it's about silencer sound, and guns are awesome. All right, there's 7 parts. They're all on pewscience.com for you to read. There's a lot of information on there. You say, Jay, you're crazy. It's too much. So that's fine. Just skip to Section 5 really quick. Check out the suppression rating. Understand that it lets you know how silencers stack up in comparison to one another with regard to the sound of the muzzle in the shooter's ear, and it gives you a hearing safe dose limit for the particular platforms on which the silencers are tested. I'm telling you, if it's a higher number, it's going to sound better to you. If it's a lower number, it's going to sound more harsh or louder. It's super simple, 0 to 100 scale. So easy, a caveman can do it. Super easy. It's even color-coded, frankly. Okay, and there's a detailed rating of the muzzle and ear. You can't go wrong. All right? And if you go to Section 6, if you're like, wow, the suppression rating's great, tell me more. I say, no problem. You go to Section 6, all the reviews are like, whoa, hold on, you're going crazy again, Jay. That's way too much information. I say, no problem, fam. Go to Section 7. There's a table. You sort it, you play with it, you look at what you like. When you find something you do like, you click on the link there, and each line of the table will take you back to the review in Section 6. You can go ham. Section 6 is where you go ham. It's where you grab a cup of hot chocolate and you read about silencers. You have all winter to do that now. So yeah. If you're a manufacturer and you would like to use PEW Science for private testing and consulting services, there's a form on the website with which you can submit that inquiry. We recently got some new R&D clients. That was really nice. Currently working with those folks to try to characterize their systems for them to help them with their product development and sometimes with their product launches. If they're a new company, you want to get their name out there, they know their stuff sounds good, you say, hey, how can I be on your website with my silencer? I say, no problem, let's test it, see how it does. Wow, our silencer did pretty well. Will you publish it? I say, absolutely. Publish a report on the website. They say, oh, you know what? We don't want to publish this. Maybe we work on it a little bit more. We make it better. Then you test it again. Maybe we publish that one. I say, no problem. You're the boss. It's your data. If you're contract with us, everything remains confidential unless, of course, you want to release it to the public, and we will help do that. All right. We do that. Sometimes you never see stuff. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Chances are, if it's a publicly existing product and there's enough demand, we'll probably get to it. But there's a lot of demand. So, these folks that want to showcase stuff, maybe they want to become a PEW Science client and learn more about R&D. Yeah, it's a win-win for everybody, I think. Seems to be working pretty well so far. And, that's one method that the industry can support this monumental effort. You, listening, can also support PEW Science. You can support PEW Science with a membership at pewscience.com. That supports the the podcast, the testing, everything we do here. Also, if maybe you don't want to do that, or you say, Jay, that's a little bit, $8, a little bit too much for my blood. I'm saving my pennies for XYZ. He said, no problem. I understand. These trying times. Sometimes it's not good to have you want to limit your spending, be more frugal. I get it. There are some things you can do to help PEW Science that don't cost you anything. You can give the podcast a good rating on your favorite podcast provider like iTunes. So you let folks like iTunes know that, hey, silencers and guns are awesome. Maybe silencers aren't so bad. Maybe everyone should have silencers. Next thing you know, we all have Macs in our cars, clack, clack. Machine guns are everywhere. The Hughes Amendment is gone. Silencers in the pencil holders of the desks of young children, bringing their full auto MP5s to show and tell. How fast can they disassemble that unit and check the bolt gap on their MP5? That might even be a extracurricular activity. Bolt gap check on roller locked weapons. That's the time I want to live in. I feel like we're not too far away from that. All you got to do is spread the word about PEW Science, and you'll have MP5s in every child's hand. See how that works? Disclaimer, it may not be true. Okay, I have 3 topics. Disclaimer, not true. I have 3 topics for you today. Topic 1, Sound Signature Review 655, the Dead Air Nomad-L on Supersonic 308. Technical discussion. Okay, we're going to do a deep dive into the Nomad-L. Let's talk about that. Let's see if we can get the wheels to fall off on that one or not. Topic 2, so many hunting setups lately. What is your preferred hunting silencer for medium game? A lot of feedback about 300 Blackout last time when we were talking about this. What silencers are you guys using for that? I want to know. So I hope we can get to this topic. I know the first topic is going to take a lot of time, so we'll see what happens with the second one and if we can get to it. Now, the third topic 3, PEW Science members, you are loyal and you are vocal. And your support is amazing. Okay, so welcome to a few new members. I appreciate it. Your support is awesome. And so are your suggestions to help the effort. You guys have such meaningful suggestions you give me all the time. I really like the ideas. Just because I don't implement them right away or at all doesn't mean I'm not listening and considering them. So thank you. Okay, let's move into topic 1 at a time of 12 minutes and 55 seconds. Oh, that was a long intro. I talked about things. Give you some tidbits. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay, let me get a drink of water for this one. This is going to be wild. Okay. Topic 1, Sound Signature Review 655, the Dead Air Nomad-L on Supersonic 308. Okay, let's talk about this review we just released. This technical discussion here. Interesting silencer. Really interesting. I know. It was overdue. Believe me, I know. A lot of you waited for Nomad-L data for a very long time. And what I can tell you is that it wasn't all my fault that it took this long. Okay, there were some external factors. Frankly, I tested it back at the end of March, and I was supposed to have tested it way before that. Okay, but there were some hurdles. And big shout out to the dealer, to remain nameless, that supplied the Nomad-L for testing. Excuse me. Along with some other dead air silencers. You are the silent hero that the industry needs but does not deserve. So shout out to that dealer. You were awesome. Guys, if you only knew the twists and turns involved with testing the silencer, like, you would lose your mind, dude. Like, someday when I write a book, you might hear about it. Until then, you're not. But I do want to tell you, some of you speculate, oh, he just sitting on data. It's like, well, I also waited to test the thing, so its priority on my list went down, frankly. Okay, so the Nomad-L, another full-size .30 caliber rifle silencer. And man, at this point, like it's almost old hat now. You know, how many freaking .30 caliber rifle silencers are there now? You know, it's a huge segment of the market, and you know, each manufacturer seems to be making multiple models for the same use. And that's the crazy part. Well, you know what? I shouldn't say that, because it's not exactly the same intended use a lot of times, but the models that folks are offering can all be used on similar guns. And that can really be confusing for consumers in general. You know? I mean, there's so many choices that people are basically flying blind now. And they're just throwing something at the wall and seeing what sticks. So when you see the data set on pewscience.com, just know that yes, it has a lot of bolt gun tests, but there are a few reasons for that. Okay, the first reason is that we had to eliminate variables. But the second is that this is by far one of the largest segments of the silencer market. Okay, and also the sound suppression really, really matters. Rimfire is probably the best application of silencers. And if you ask me, if you could only own one silencer ever, what should you buy? I would say a rimfire silencer. But those can be pretty quiet. .30 caliber silencers can vary from extremely quiet to extremely loud, and can totally disappoint you faster than your neighbor killing that buck you've been watching for 3 years. You know, you ever hunted whitetail on a managed land with low fence, and you've been watching deer and letting them grow, and he doesn't show up the next season? You're like, oh, that sucks. I guess he moved on. And then you see that your neighbor shot him, and you're like, dude, I've been watching him grow for 3 years. He wasn't even he was 4 years old. We were going to wait till he was like 6 years old. You killed him right now, really? Like, that's what buying a .30 caliber silencer feels like that's loud when you thought it was going to be quiet. You're like, I waited a year for this, and the manufacturer said it was going to be fine. They lied. Yeah. Been there. Trust me. So, yeah. So, with that preface, what kind of silencer is the Nomad-L from Dead Air? Well, it's a quiet one. It's really quiet. How quiet is it? Let's talk about it. Okay, so bottom line up front, 52.0 composite suppression rating on supersonic 308 20-inch barrel. Whoa, Nelly. Yes, sir. Boy, howdy. It's quiet. That's quiet silencer, tell you what. Now, it is quiet. Now, when you get into the 50s, on a centerfire rifle, it's some quiet time, baby. All right? Now, it's quiet time. 41.9 at the muzzle, 51.3 at the ear. Wow, that's good. It's really good. You're above 50 at the ear on a supersonic 308 bolt gun, my friends. That is no joke. That's a hunting rifle you could probably take target shooting if you really had to. Shoot without ears and be all right. Just shoot some steel without ear, whatever. That's how quiet the Nomad-L is. That's a good zone to be in. For sure. That's a good zone to be in. It's not normal. Not a normal range of... This is not normal. Okay? Just to put that in perspective, let's head to section 7 of the Silencer Sound Standard, PEW Science rankings, and check out the competition. No, it's like a commercial. No, don't know, but really, go to the website here. Go to section 7, PEW Science rankings. I'll scroll all the way down to the table here. I'm gonna go ahead in the table. I'm gonna select ammunition. I'm gonna go ammunition, supersonic 308 Winchester only. We're only gonna look at supersonic 308 right now. Then I'm gonna go down to the table. I'm gonna sort by ear suppression rating descending. So I'm gonna click on that column. Okay, perfect. So what do we have here? Okay, the first was CGS Hyperion, 51.7 at the ear there, and then the Nomad, 51.3 at the ear. All right, guys, that's super close. That is ultra close. Very close. Very close. I'm going to do a members only publication for you guys so you can see some technical differences, but that's really, really close. In fact, at the muzzle, the Nomad-L is 41.9 and the Hyperion is 41.7. So you see a little bit of flip there. That's close. Really close. Their composite ratings are close. Everything's close. Okay? These silencers are both super quiet. They are. Now, on Supersonic 308. Okay? Now, what else? What else is on the table here? I mean, we have this table. I just sorted it. What else is here? Well, right away, you can see the next quietest thing to the shooter is the Otter Creek Lab stuff. 45.9 at the ears. So you're dropping half. When you move from a Nomad, a Hyperion or a Nomad, down to an Otter Creek PR30L, you're dropping about half a category at the ear. Roughly. Now, the Otter Creek is 33.8 at the muzzle. That's almost dropping a whole category there. At the muzzle. Okay, and then what's the next one? Ultra 9. The Ultra 9. Okay, well, the Ultra 9, it's neck and neck with the Otter Creek. Neck and neck. It's just like the Nomad-L is neck and neck with the Hyperion. Interesting, right? Interesting how the Hyperion and then the Nomad on 308 are very similar. And then you have the Otter Creek and the Thunder Beast, very similar. So what is this illustrating, these two groups here? Well, it's illustrating a different performance class. That's what it's illustrating. The Nomad-L and the Hyperion are in a different class compared to the Thunder Beast Ultra 9 and the Otter Creek PR30L. It's a different class. See, this is, and I'm saying this not as a flowery term. I'm saying this objectively. This is true objectively, given the sound signatures. Okay? I mean, all four of these silencers are quiet, but the Nomad-L and the Hyperion are quieter on Supersonic 308. All day, every day, no matter where you are, they are quieter. Always, definitively. Okay? Definitively. Like I said, I'll do a member article to show you more, but the suppression rating's capturing it, okay? Okay, so I just wanted to say this because there's I've heard all kinds of people saying things like, no, look at the table. Don't stop. Look at the table. I've heard the craziest. I've seen the craziest thing. People send me, I don't go on Facebook, frankly. It's insane on there. And then these gun forums, you read people say, what are you talking about? It's all garbage. It's just insufferable at this point. It's look at this data. Come on. All right. Okay. Come on. It's really, guys? So now that you know where the Nomad-L fits, where it fits in on Supersonic 308. Let's go back to the review. I'm going to close this rankings thing. We don't need that anymore. Okay. All right. So I already talked about, so here, if you want to follow along at home, Sound Signature Review 655 here on the website here. I have the members review open, but, those of you who are not a PEW Science member, you can certainly click on the free one and follow along there too. We already talked about suppression ratings, so you can skip past table 1. That's just the peak pressure metrics for people who still care, along with impulse, which is important, but the same people who only care about pressure don't even understand impulse. So it's keep in mind, I have to put the numbers there because people are insufferable. So just, you can skip this too. Skip this table, it's fine. It's fine. It's not for you. You're listening to the podcast. This isn't for you. You already know what you need to look at, and the suppression rating is what you've already seen. Okay. So, one second. Skip the table, go to figure 1. All right, figure 1. This is important. This should be extremely familiar to you. This is the Nomad-L fingerprint. When you shoot a Nomad-L on a gun like this, you are going to notice some slight variation in this signature, but it should mostly look like this. Okay, and what does that mean? What does it mean when I say look like that, look like this? Let's talk about it, okay? Let's talk about the features of the Nomad-L fingerprint. Nomad-L fingerprint. Look at the internal silencer combustion. That's the sound transmitting through the walls of the silencer before the bullet leaves. Before the bullet leaves the silencer. Okay? That's not precursor flow exiting yet. No, Nomad-L, it's too long for that. Nomad-L traps too much gas for that to happen. Okay, this is when everything's dumping into the silencer. The precursor flow, the bullet, and the muzzle blast in the silencer. That's what that is. Look how pronounced it is. Crazy, right? We saw this in the small Nomads too. We did. It's there in the Hyperion too, but it's not as high amplitude as in the Hyperion. It's weird, right? It's almost as if the Nomad-L is louder before the gas comes out. Like you can hear what's happening inside easier than you can with the Hyperion. Well, it's not almost like that. No, it is that. That's actually what that means. Like that's literally what's happening. It's literally what is happening is the Nomad-L is louder first. Crazy, right? I mean, does that matter? Probably not. I mean, it shows it actually reveals how the silencer works. If you really think about why that would be, but is that important? Not in and of itself. But it's just an interesting note to show you that the data is correct. Okay, so that happens, and then you get the bullet exit event. Bullet comes out. See that shock? You see a combined gas jet. And then bam, rarefaction, some latent jetting, but everything stays quiet until there's a major jet and you get that peak FRP. You get that peak first round pop. That's classic decoupled bullet exit event from primary muzzle jetting you see from super quiet rifle silencer with high back pressure. That's classic high back pressure behavior. Classic. You know, some manufacturers go so far as to ignore parts of this waveform because they don't understand how important considering all of it is. And that's happening right now. Well, first of all, it's happening with every manufacturer except the ones that use PEW Science. But it's happening like right now with people that could measure it but that aren't. And it's not like it used to happen and now people understand. No. Like today, like as we speak, manufacturers still aren't. They're denying it publicly. I screenshot it when I see it. Just I want to look back on that. I want to show. It's like I can't believe it. It's so crazy to me. So I'm telling you, what you are seeing in this review, you will not see anywhere else because the people who are measuring it aren't using it. So why would they show it? Crazy, right? And they've admitted that. And those people, they acknowledge that PEW Science data is correct. Publicly. And then they're like, but yeah, it's right, but we don't want to use it. Oh, okay. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I'm like, are you serious right now? It is the Wild West out there still. It is the Wild West. It is the I feel like I'm taking crazy pills sometimes. I read something and I'll like be on my phone or like I'll just internet browser and I read it and I stop for a second and I set my phone down or I just turn away from the computer and I think to myself, did I just read? Is that real? Did I just make that up? Did I read that and it wasn't real? And then I read it again. It's like, no, it says it right here. Okay. And you got to ask yourself, like, am I dreaming? Like, am I missing something? It's like, no. For the past 30 years, that's how this works. So yeah, just blowing my mind. It's right here. I mean, what is this? The 55th review? How much more do you need to prove that it's correct? Anyway, so yeah. So we have this primary jetting, right? This huge first round pop that comes out after the bullet exits, shot comes off the bullet. It's actually more than that. There's also gas jetting mixed in with that. That is not only a shock off the bullet. Okay, frankly, trust me. There's other flow with that too. So what happens is that happens. Then there is a complete, almost utter suppression of gas, and then you get more jetting. Why is that? Well, because the gas jet that was pushing the bullet got trapped, mostly. And so that's why you see a decoupling between the bullet exit, which is the term I use because that's what's happening. The bullet exit, there's a decoupling between bullet exit and major jetting. And that decoupling is a sure sign that your silencer is going to have high back pressure without even looking at the omega metric yet or shooting it on an AR. Okay? This is down to a science. Why? Because we know how silencers work. Why? Because we have the data and we know what the data is showing us. What does PEW Science do? PEW Science looks at the entire waveform. Not 1 millisecond, not half a millisecond, not 3 milliseconds, not 6 milliseconds, the entire from combustion initiating in the weapon system to complete blowdown of pressure out of the system. Okay? And if that wasn't already clear. And, silencer manufacturer had a question about that. Well, how long are you? I see that you're, and the 3, and it says the 3. No. Look at figure 3A. Come on, man. Freaking give me a break. I'm getting upset because it's like, it's at this point, you guys, enough with this. I don't know what you know what I'm doing. It's been 2 years now. Okay, so sorry. I'm getting like, it's ridiculous now at this point. And then there's these. It's gonna be hilarious when. Well, I won't go too far. They'll see soon enough. So anyway, after that primary jet, that big FRP, I cut this snapshot off for the sake of brevity because there's too much going on. I was like, this is all you need to see right here. Bottom line, what you need to take away from figure 1 is that the Nomad-L is trapping gas, and it's trapping gas really well. Okay, and it's trapping it aggressively. Okay, and that's important. You need to understand that. Okay, that's in the data. That is 100% correct. All right, now there are some very technical things that are going on, and I do touch on them in the review. If you want to check that out, you should. If you haven't already, what's really wild about the Nomad-L is it actually behaves just like a Nomad at first until it doesn't. Okay, it shapes flow in a very similar way until it doesn't. Okay, it has more baffles, and with more baffles using the same design, you just restrict flow more. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy, really. That's an important point I want to hit. I want to hit that later. I'm not going to hit that yet. Hold that thought about just adding baffles. Just hold that thought. We'll hit that later. Okay, I'll come back to it. 1 second. Okay, so I do want to show you something and make sure you guys understand it. Look at figure 2A. This is important. Figure 2A, that shows the first peak, the bullet exit for every shot. And they are overlaid on each other. Does that matter for you? The answer is yes, it does. Why? Because I'm showing you data integrity. That's why. I'm mentioning this today, again, because certain parties are now commenting on the data and endorsing it as correct, while at the same time trying to confuse consumers and discredit it. Okay, so I don't know, guys. A lot of you see it happening. These guys, they have ill intent in their discussions, and that's not good. Okay, they're going out of their way to purposefully mislead consumers. That's no, not on my watch. Not going to mislead consumers. I don't let that happen. Okay, I want to tell you, all those parties who from one side of their mouth say the data's right and from the other side of their mouth stir the pot, that's not secret sauce. That's everyone in the industry knows this. This is super well known. This is like, trust me. Maybe not to consumers, but everyone else knows exactly what's going on. It's not a secret. And now it's public. And so as a consumer, just know these figures are so that you can trust the data. And what it does is it also makes it so that no one else can refute the data. And this is called data pedigree. You heard me say that before. This is called data pedigree. It's verifiable. Nowhere else on Earth will you get this from a science review. Nobody. Not Crane in Indiana. Not Army Research Lab. Not Air Force Research Lab. Not silencer manufacturers. Nobody. Only PEW Science. I'm getting some PEW Science members. They're sending me screenshots, DMs from silencer companies with the silencer companies saying they're putting out data just like PEW Science. I say, I don't even look. You guys send me those things, and I look at it. I just shake my head. I say, well, that's one of the craziest things I've ever read in my life. And the consumers are dumbfounded. They're like, Jay, why are they saying this? I'm like, I don't know. But then I tell them I'm not surprised. It's the same stuff, different decade, dude. That's how this industry is, dude. 30 years of this. So that's why PEW Science exists. I'm protecting you. Trust me. A lot of you probably, you know what? A lot of you probably didn't believe me when I said I was protecting you. You know, learn today. Yeah, okay. Now go to figure 3A. Figure 3A. This should be very telling. Extremely telling, actually. Very telling to you because we were talking about 556 data not too long ago, right? And we were talking about blowdown. Remember the OSS? I remember. Remember how fast it dumped gas? And then you saw the bolt close. And you're like, whoa, bolt closed like super late in time. Like, oh my gosh. The gas was all gone. The bolts are just like coming home to an empty house. Yeah. Well, this is a 308 bolt gun test, this Nomad-L here. This 3A. And it's a very high back pressure silencer. And this thing takes forever to blow down. Look at it. Look at it. Look how long it takes to blow down. Look. Look how long it takes to blow down. It's crazy, right? It takes forever. Why is that? Gas takes a very long time to get out of the silencer. Very long time. Okay, to see that better, excuse me. To see that better, take a look at the early time impulse in figure 4. Yeah. There's a figure 4A and figure 4B. All right. Here we go. Check that out. Impulse spike from the bullet exit. There's a drop. Then the gas starts to jet. And it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds. It takes a while to build. It certainly does. What's taking so long? And it's taking a long time for the gas to get out of the silencer. That's what you're seeing there. With the Nomad, with a shorter Nomad, it happened faster. Okay, but then they added baffles, and then boom, takes a long time now. Yeah, simple concept. You know, typical. This is typical with full size silencers. You know, people always ask me, why does back pressure happen? Oh, you need more volume. No. Not more volume. To reduce back pressure, you need to increase flow rate. Understand? What happens when you add baffles? You think you're making flow rate go up or down? You think you're trapping more gas or less? Come on, guys. I've never heard so much insane things. So this is typical with full-size silencers. You're going to increase back pressure. You're going to lower the flow rate when the silencer gets long. It just is what it is. It's physics. You can't hide it. You can't stop it. Unless you do something special. Okay? This is typical for a full-size silencer, like I'm saying. With the Nomad-L, I think it's a little excessive. Is it crazy? Well, not really crazy. Is it a little higher than it needs to be? Possibly. I talk about it in the review. I talk about how, and I didn't use these words, but I'm going to use them now. The Nomad-L uses a brute force baffle stack, but the baffle stack is advanced. It's like you took an advanced baffle stack and you scaled it up. Todd McGee from Dead Air, shout out, powerful Todd McGee, he designed this. He says, each Nomad baffle acts as a check valve and doesn't allow gas to travel back down the barrel. So, okay. However, to that I say, interesting point, interesting theory. I say the silencer is going to fill with gas. It's going to pressurize, okay? So unless the flow rate's increasing, it's not going to be flowing, and there's going to be an increased dwell. Yeah? So if the flow can't get out, it's going to be restrictive, yeah? And what metric shows that? Well, it's approximate, but that's the PEW Science omega metric, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. It does. So go down. Let's skip this figure 4 here, and we're going to skip past. I'm looking at the member review, so I'm going to scroll way down. I'm going to skip all the other stuff that members see here. I'm going to scroll down and go all the way to figure 7. All right. We got figure 7 and figure 8. I added a figure 8 this time. Yeah, so I did something a little different. I had a figure 8. I had put the omega metric in the figure 7 chart from low to high for silencers in omega zone 5 and above. And then I saw what the omega was for the Nomad-L. 5.49, super high. Now, a lot of you freaked out. A lot of you freaked out when you saw this. Now you need to not freak. Don't freak out. Now, listen. You need to understand that this is a metric, not a flow rate, okay? The units are literally 1 over Pascal times 10 in the plot, yeah? Okay. It's a research metric. It's not a flow rate. So some of you were like, oh my gosh, the back pressure of the Nomad-L is twice that of the Hyperion. That's not true. That's not true. Okay, go to figure 8. I did this on purpose. I updated the chart in Public Research Supplement 640 to the one you see here, but I also put it in this review for a very specific reason. Okay. So again, this is for this review, but I also, for those of you who are wondering, I went back to Public Research Supplement 640 and I put it in there too. A lot of you were asking me, I need a place to put to see all this stuff, and I said, okay, well now you have that. I'm not going to put it in the suppression. I'm not going to put it in the rankings yet. It's not. Okay, we're not doing that yet. It's a research metric. It's not ready to be put in the rankings table. So I know you guys want that, but I'm telling you, do not. It's not ready, and I will do that when I'm ready. Okay. So, but I put this in the review for you to help you put things in context, and this has all the 30 caliber silencers publicly reviewed. Now, you can see the Nomad-L in different light in figure 8, can't you? Now, is the omega metric for the Nomad-L higher than the Hyperion? Yes. Does it trap more gas than the Hyperion? Probably, according to the test data. Now, does it induce double the flow restriction as the Hyperion? Well, no. It doesn't. Look how close they are on the chart in figure 8. Okay? We don't know how the regions scale with flow rate perfectly and exactly, but it looks to be about as far away as an Ultra 9 is to a Helios QD. Yeah? Give or take. You feel me? It's a logarithmic scale, guys. Come on. The Hyperion has high back pressure too. I should have never put the back pressure metric on a linear scale for you. I just assumed you would be going back to section 640 and looking at the zones, or maybe just looking at the zone table in table 2. I said, oh, well, who cares? They're going to look at the zone table. They don't care that. And then I knew with this one, I was like, oh my God, they're going to freak out. They're going to see it's 5.49 versus 2.37, and they're just going to freak out. I mean, Dead Air freaked out. Well, not Dead Air. I don't even know if they can read this, but Todd McGee certainly can, and he texted me. He's like, dude, you're just saying that it has twice the back pressure is yada. I'm like, no. Or 5 times the back pressure or something. I was like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. Todd, it's a back pressure metric, and it's on a logarithmic scale, and there's zones. And he's like, oh. I'm like, yeah. It's like, guys have questions, just ask me when I publish. What was the date? In fact, that's a good point. Let me click on it so I can see the date. I don't even remember when I published Research Supplement 640. Oh, April 22nd. What is it? November? April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Okay, 7 months ago. Half a year ago, I published it. I published the omega metric for the first time half a year ago. So for half a year, you've seen it. Half a year. Okay, if you have questions, just ask me. I'm here. So yeah, so there's that. I mean, I have no problem answering questions. I love answering questions, and no question's stupid. No, you know what? I would rather you ask a question than not, and assume that this means that the Nomad-L has twice the back pressure of the Hyperion, which is the craziest thing I've ever read in my life. Come on, guys. It's not how it works. So, remember, we do not have a published correlation between the omega metric and flow rate. And even if we did, what would you do with it? All you're concerned about is bolt speed and perceived gas in your face on different weapon systems, which frankly is impossible to quantify due to how many weapon systems there are. Okay, so until the research metric can be published in that way, you need to be careful and use it in accordance with Table 2, which is postulated potential qualitative functional influence on semi-automatic or automatic weapon systems. It says that in the review. Table 2. Look at the first line in Table 2 in the review. What does it say? Zone, and then 1 through 7. Second column, Omega sub 762, which means it's only valid for that. Omega 762, and then it has the units, and it gives you a range. Those correspond to what's in the plot in Figure 8 or Figure 7. And then what's the third column? Postulated potential qualitative functional influence on semi-automatic or automatic weapon systems. It's written down. It's not like I'm saying it and not freaking saying it again so you forget what I said. No, it's right there. Go back, read it. It's in the article. So what does that mean? What does postulated potential qualitative mean? It means postulated means we think this is happening. Potential means it has the potential to do it, might not. Qualitative means this is not a quantitative influence report. Okay, it's qualitative. It's describing a general situation. Functional influence means weapon function. So this is basically telling you this is what we think will probably happen for different ranges of omega to certain types of weapons. Here's a guide. Okay? Here's a guide. And it's correlating pretty well. But it doesn't mean that the Nomad-L has twice the back pressure of the Hyperion. That's ludicrous. Look how close they are in suppression rating. That'd be crazy. Okay, so where was I? Oh, right. Yeah. Logarithmic scale. The Hyperion, dude, you think the Hyperion's low back pressure just because its omega metric's lower than the Nomad-L? That's wrong. The Hyperion is high back pressure too, my friends. They're both in omega zone 7. Anything in omega zone 7 above 1, bro. Dude, the Thunder Chicken is 0.7 and it has high back pressure. The Thunder Chicken. The Surge, the Rugged Surge, the long configuration of the Rugged Surge has high back pressure. It's 0.62. But the Thunder Chicken and the Surge have less back pressure than an Ultra 9, a PR30L, a Hyperion, a Nomad-L, guys. And these zones 1 through 7, they're I was gonna say they're arbitrary. They're not necessarily arbitrary, but they are picked by me. Frankly, it's a continuum, and it's logarithmic. It's best viewed on a logarithmic scale. How do we know that? How do we know it's best viewed on a logarithmic scale? I got one tip for you. Whenever you question whether or not a data should be listed on a logarithmic scale, I want you to look at it on its linear scale first, and then look at it on the logarithmic scale. Look at the linear scale. Seems insane, doesn't it? That's because the data isn't linear. For nonlinear data, viewing it on a linear scale can do you a severe disservice, okay? It can be very misleading to you. Why? Why would that be? Because it's not linear data. Why is the suppression rating 0 to 100? It's not misleading to you. Why do I have categories for the suppression rating? So it's not misleading to you. Okay, you got people these people, what are they on the forums? Oh, I want it to be 140 dB. I'll tell you what, is that silencer here and safe at the ear? Is that 140? How many dBs? Is that 140 dB? The manufacturer says 140 dB. Come on, man. This one's 141. It's louder. Is it? Is it louder? Just wait. I can't wait. I have some silencers coming up. There's one. Boy, did it meter quiet. If you were looking at peak dB. Gosh. Sucks that the suppression rating's not quiet. I wonder why that is. Oh, that's right. The peak dB is only part of the story. Oh, I've only been saying that forever. So yeah, sorry, I don't mean to be negative, guys. Like I'm losing my mind. So when it comes to the back pressure of the Nomad-L, don't freak out. All right, it's gonna have high back pressure. It's a gigantic silencer. It's a gigantic silencer. Okay, the Hyperion has high back pressure. The Nomad-L has more. And there's not one entity, frankly, this is important. There's not one entity I have heard from that contradicts this at all. There are some folks using AR systems with super short dwell time. There was a dude. Here's a real life example. There's a dude on Reddit with a 308 AR with a rifle length gas system, low dwell time gun. And he said that he doesn't really have to adjust his gas between a Nomad and a Nomad-L on his gun. He has it tuned. So what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that his rifle is gas insensitive because of his short dwell time. That's what it tells you. The silencer is adding dwell time, but it's adding it to a system that has super low dwell time to begin with. So he could put any of these silencers on his gun and be okay. Sounds like that dude built a good gun. Sounds like that dude's a smart dude. Remember when I said short dwell time was awesome at the beginning of this podcast? Why would I say that to you? Would I say that to you because I sell guns? No, I don't sell guns. Would I say that to you because I sell gas blocks or barrels? No, I don't sell those either. Would I say that to you because I sell silencers? No, I don't sell silencers either. Why would I say that to you? Because I want to help you. It's like literally the entire reason I'm doing any of this. It's the whole reason I do the podcast. It's the whole reason I write the reviews. Why do I spend over half my life, my freaking time on the planet from 2019 to now doing this for you? Why? Because I want to help you. I don't say this for fun. I mean, yeah, it's fun too, but I mean, I could do other stuff, dude. Like I don't have to do this. Okay, so is back pressure the end all be all? I mean, it can be. Okay, reason I'm talking about back pressure a lot on this is because this was here's two things people talked about with the Nomad-L review. The first thing they talked about, wow, it's quiet. Good job, Dead Air. Okay, cool. The second thing they said was, oh my God, the back pressure. So they talked about something really good and something they perceived to be really bad. And what I'm telling you is, how could you possibly be surprised about this? Are you surprised that it's higher than Hyperion? I mean, we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, all right. So, I mean, again, is back pressure the end all be all? I mean, it can be. It can be if your host dictates it. Remember, when we talked about the OSS silencer on the Mark 18, remember that? And how well it did at the shooter's ear? That was a consequence of its muzzle signature and its high flow rate. And what was that? How was that flow rate characterized? It was characterized by its incredibly low omega metric. Okay? That lowered the ear signature because the ejection port signature was low. And the muzzle signature was low enough that the combination to the total ear signature was favorable. All right? What would happen if you put the Nomad-L on a Mark 18 instead of the OSS? What happens if you take the Nomad-L to put a direct thread 556 adapter in it and put it on the Mark 18? What happens? Spoiler alert, you're going to have a bad time. You need to tune the gun. How do I know that? Well, how do you think I know that? Okay? So, the back pressure of the Nomad-L is a lot. And nobody should have been surprised about that. I mean, come on. The thing is huge. It is a big gas trap. And you've seen what a Nomad baffle looks like, dang it. Okay, so why does the Hyperion have less back pressure? $1 million question. One second. $1 million question, literally. Why does the Hyperion have less back pressure? Remember I said to hold that thought a while ago. Now, this is where I want to make that point. I was waiting to talk about this first. All right. The Hyperion, it seems to restrict flow less than the Nomad-L because the Hyperion operates very differently than the Nomad-L does. The Hyperion, and I say this and I feel like people aren't getting it. The Hyperion vents gas immediately to an outer annulus that is down the entire silencer length. You feel me? And it can vent and or recombine halfway down the stack too in a big way. What other silencers that we are like this? Surefire RC2. Remember? I remember. I mean, it's different than the Hyperion, but hey, there's some similarities to an RC2. Yeah? Come on, guys. Come on. Okay, so the Hyperion's doing it in a crazy way. The gas goes... seriously, what happens when the gas goes into Hyperion or Hyperion K or Helios DT? Not Helios QD. Get that out of your mind. Get the Helios QD out of your mind right now. What did I just say? Hyperion, Hyperion K, and Helios DT. Those are the same. The Helios QD is a different silencer. Stop thinking it's the same. It's not. Okay? What happens in the Hyperion K, and the Helios DT? Gas vents immediately to the outer annulus, and the annulus is the entire length of the silencer, and it recombines in the center. Okay? So is the Hyperion trapping high-pressure gas too, like a Nomad-L? Absolutely. Is it doing something special when compared to the Nomad-L? Also absolutely. Okay, the Hyperion is able to be quiet and flow more. Flow rate. The Hyperion is not low back pressure by any stretch of the imagination. But for how quiet it is, it does pretty good. Okay, does pretty good. See, you didn't know that yet. You didn't have the Nomad-L data. You guys didn't have the Nomad-L data yet. See how context is super important? Half the crap I have on my website, you wouldn't even think it was important until you saw all of it. This is why it's really important to just... I know it takes a long time, but this is important. Now, I said it in the article, but I think that the Nomad-L might increase back pressure for no reason, dude. I think, and this is just me, look, don't get upset when I say this, but I'm not pulling punches. I think Dead Air could have done something different in the Nomad-L to prevent this, and I think one of the reasons they didn't is manufacturing. Like, I should say ease of manufacturing and scalability for traditional methods of how they're doing this, how they're making these silencers. Now, excuse me. The Hyperion's 3D printed. So CGS can basically do whatever they want. It's literally insane. Now, the Nomad series is limited to welding some baffles together that are the same in all the Nomad silencers. All right. Now, at least. Theoretically, they should be the same. So it's just to add more baffles game, really. I mean, there might be some other little tweaks too when you go from a Nomad to Nomad-L. But I don't think there's much. I mean, there might be. I don't have it. I frankly don't have one with me right now to borescope. I wish I did. But yeah, I don't think there's much, and I think it's just adding baffles. I think that's what they did, and that, my friends, is pretty popular in the silencer world. But it's not a holistic design philosophy that's cutting edge in 2021. It's not. How do I know that? Well, we've seen how companies are not necessarily scaling things like that. Okay, I mean, most are, but some aren't. And this is important to note. I really like this Nomad-L review. Not because it's my favorite silencer, but it shows another method of getting quiet and the trade-offs that come with it. Does it do the job? Absolutely does. Absolutely. It's quiet. It's a quiet silencer. Could it be done better? I actually believe all silencers can be better. I never say something's perfect because it's not. Now, I think the Nomad-L is a good silencer, but there are some things I don't like about it. I think the flow restriction could be lower. I think the wrench flats could be a little bit less sharp because they can cut your fingers when you take the mount on and off. Those little wrench thingies, they don't have enough meat for wrench engagement. I feel like I don't like that. The baffle stack, it seems to be pretty well aligned, but I think they got to EDM it. And I'm not sure about the asymmetric blast baffle for precision. It kind of makes me nervous. I don't know. It's a good silencer. Don't get me wrong. And the modular rear end is a welcome thing. It doesn't scream at me. And I'm telling you, I don't have one right now. I gave the one back that I tested. I think I only have the original Nomad and the Nomad TI in my inventory right now. So I don't even have any other Dead Air silencers in inventory right now. I have some Dead Air Odessas, but those are mine. Those are Form 4s. Yeah. I don't know. Listen, I will never tell you what to buy. Ever. I'm just saying. The long version of this Nomad-L, it just didn't blow my skirt up that much. And that's just a personal opinion. That doesn't mean it's not a good silencer. I'm just giving you my opinion. It's something I feel I can give on this podcast that I don't really give in the reviews. I try to make the reviews as factual as possible because I want them to be like referenced forever. You know what I'm saying? Like this podcast, it allows me to speak my mind like in a more personal way to you, a little more, it's just more personal. So here we are. Okay, that's how I'm running this. So it's my kingdom. This is what I dictate. Okay, this is how I'm going to run it. So I'm just disclaimer. This is my opinion on this. When I say it doesn't blow my skirt up, that's because that's Jay. That's me. That doesn't mean it's you. The Nomad is a good silencer. It could be your favorite baby, and it's awesome and cool. I mean, it's obviously quiet. If it has all the features you want, well then perfect. Like, who am I to tell you what to buy? Like I don't care what you buy. Again, like I say all the time, throw all the silencers in the trash. Don't buy any of them. It won't affect me. Not my problem. Okay, so I just want to help you. That's why I'm here. So yeah. So now, what other cartridges will the Nomad do well? Like, or what about how is its performance on 300 blackout, 556, blah blah blah. I've tested it. You'll see it. I think you'll find it useful. It'll and it's going to show what this show. I mean, you're gonna. All it's going to do is prove the data's right even more. It's like, come on, man. But yeah. So yeah, I think you'll like it. You folks waited a while for this, so I don't want to make you wait too much longer for this one, but we got a lot of other stuff, and frankly, there's some difficulties with this, so I'm just happy to get it out. Now, what's the verdict? What's the bottom line? Well, it's a quiet silencer. It also comes in titanium. It does, which it actually can. This will freak you out. The titanium version of the Nomad-L. This is the Nomad LT. I think it's a Silencer Shop exclusive, actually. I think the only place you can get the LT is from Silencer Shop. strangely enough. I actually know the story about that, which I'm not going to repeat from Dead Air, but it's weird. But the really interesting thing about that is that on 308, the Nomad-LT is not as quiet. It's weird. But all that being said, and you're going to ask me why, and well, frankly, unfortunately, I can only speculate because knowing what I know about Dead Air manufacturing, it is, I mean, and these, by the way, both silencers I tested were brand new. So don't even start to speculate about the condition of the silencers because trust me, they were pristine. The reason I can't tell you why is because there is a technical reason why I think the Nomad-L might be quieter than LT, but unfortunately, because of Dead Air's manufacturing, I don't know if it was really the same internal. So I cannot, and because I didn't, obviously, even if you would have to section it. You can't even bore scope because there could be a difference. So I do not want to say my theory about why I think the LT is louder on 308 because I do not have enough information. And that is the honest answer, dude. I think I know why, but I don't even want to tell you because all it's going to do is cause more speculation. So until we have cutaways, I mean, I have the serial numbers on record of what I tested. I could just get the silencers back from the guy and cut them in half, long ways, section them, and we could examine them. And then I could tell you for sure. But because if they were identical, I know why. If they're not identical, well, I don't know why. Well, I mean, I would because I'd see the geometry, but you get my point. But you understand? So it's interesting. Now, bottom line is it going to be noticeable to you? Yeah. Actually, you know what? Hold on a second. I mean, I'm on the topic anyway. Let me go back and check something. Okay. Oh, I actually don't even know when. Hold on. I'm looking. Just bear with me for one moment, guys. Sorry. Oh, shoot. I have like about 100,000 things to open here. 1 second, dude. Okay. Let me tell you. Yeah, not super different. Okay, so it's not gonna like ruin your day. If you bought a Nomad-LT instead of the Nomad-L and you're gonna use it on 308, don't freak out. All right, like you're fine. I'm just saying like it's not. I don't know why and I verified this over multiple tests. I because I just want to understand that no the Nomad-L is quieter than the LT on 308. It's weird. So now that that's out of the way, one thing to think about though that is interesting as well is that the Nomad-L is the steel one, the one that you see in the sound signals review. The steel Nomad-L, it's only about 4 ounces heavier than a Hyperion is. With direct thread mount. Yeah? So, that's like a third of a pound. That's too bad. That's not too bad. Going from titanium to steel being pretty much just as quiet on 308 and only increasing in weight by a third of a pound, that shows that's pretty good for the Nomad-L, yeah? And I'm not, but then again, you got to ask yourself, well, this isn't really meant for full auto, machine gun. It's a super high back pressure. So you're going to put it on a bolt gun. It's a bolt gun can. And then you also got to think about, well, I'm not sure there's really much of a difference in durability between a steel Nomad-L and a titanium Hyperion anyway, just because of the way the Hyperion works. I mean, but there is certainly a difference in durability between a Nomad-L and a Nomad-LT. I promise you that. So that might be something to think about if you're on the fence. I don't know. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're in the market for one of these things, you might want to, I don't know, you can save some weight going the Nomad-LT, You're not going to really lose that much sound reduction on 308. And, that if that's important to you, it's a big silencer, so shaving weight's good. It's going to be on the end of your gun. It's long. So you're going to feel it. It's something to think about. Yeah. So I hope that helps. I know I talked for a long time about this. I talked about a lot of different stuff that was not related to the Nomad, but was like just some things that are happening in the industry right now. Whenever I publish something big like this, because it gets a lot of attention, and then then the peanut gallery gets louder. So I just wanted to make sure to hit all those points, address everything publicly, so you understand my stance on it. And I hope this did this justice. I hope that you know more about the Nomad-L now. I could probably talk for another hour about this silencer and these silencers like it. But that's what the review is for. You can go there, pewscience.com, sound signature review 655. Members, there's some cool ear data you can see. If it's going to make you, really understand what's going on. It's just going to solidify the data pedigree to make you really understand why it's quiet. So I hope this wait was worth it. I hope you folks that own the silencer find the data useful, and I hope you folks who wanted to know more about the silencer find the data analysis useful too. Yeah. All right. That's enough about the Nomad-L. Enough about the Nomad. These 30 caliber silencers, I'm getting almost burned out on them. These 30 caliber rifle silencers, there's so many. But there's more to do. Okay, let's go to topic 2 at a time of 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 17 seconds. Yeah, I almost spent an hour on that one topic. Therefore, there will not be a lot of time spent on the next two. Topic 2. So many hunting setup questions lately. I mean, it is the season, yeah. So what is your preferred silencer for medium game? I wanted to talk about this really quick, and because we talked about a lot of folks were talking about 300 blackout and the terminal ballistics of it last time. 300 blackout for hunting purposes, supersonic and sub, which is incredibly different. So I was curious, all you guys talking about 300 blackout. Well, what silencers are you using? For me, I can tell you what I'm doing personally. I mean, and this is why this is the J Situation podcast. This is not the PEW Science podcast. This is the J Situation podcast. PEW Science is my company. They sponsor the podcast, and Silencer Shop sponsors the podcast. Okay, so I got these sponsors sponsoring my podcast. Just because I do the podcast and I run PEW Science doesn't mean this is the PEW Science podcast. This is whatever I say on this, I can explain PEW Science data because I create it, but I can also give my opinions. And I want to make sure that you understand these are my opinions. This is not an endorsement for you to buy something. This is me telling you what I enjoy using because I'm a silencer guy like you. And if you don't think that disclaimer is sincere, well, maybe this isn't the podcast for you. Okay? All right. So what I'm saying is for hunting this year, I'm going to use a Hyperion. I'm going to use it for everything. And just because of what I'm doing. I think I'm doing 308. Well, I know I'm doing 308 for hunting this year, like last year, and I possibly will be using 300 blackout this year. So for me, Hyperion is checking those boxes. I might do some subsonic 300. Maybe. In which case the Hyperion does that too. It does everything. So I'll probably stick with it. I just really don't feel like wearing hearing protection this season at all. I don't. And I don't want to re-zero my 308. Because I told you a couple of episodes ago how when I zeroed my Q fix with Hyperion and the Swarovski Z8i, how in the Scalar Works mount, I freaking shot it. It was dead on. I didn't have to adjust it. My buddy, he's a PEW Science member. He has the same setup. He only had to move his maybe a click or two in windage or something, barely. And he had or maybe it was elevation, whatever. He had a click or two, and his was on too. So come on, man. So yeah, that's what I'm using. I don't want to re-zero my gun, so that's what I'm using. So what are you guys using? It's hunting, so it's not like you absolutely need the quietest thing. You really don't. You might be going for super light or super short, and that's okay. Totally okay. It's all about what your requirements are. If you remember, I used a Hyperion K last year. And actually, if you remember this, I have a personal rugged Radiant. I switched from the rugged Radiant to the Hyperion K because the Hyperion K was quieter. It's shorter and quieter and lighter. So I was like, I'm going to use the Hyperion K. Perfect. And the Hyperion K is not the quietest thing. It's not the quietest silencer, but it's probably one of the best hunting silencers you could use. And on the short barrel, 16-inch 308 compared with the 20, the Hyperion K gets more efficient with higher pressure flow. So I explained this last year, I think, when I talked about it. And I explained this the other day. Actually, it might have been today in a DM with a PEW Science member. I think he was a PEW Science member. He was asking me if I thought that certain silencers... No. He was asking me if the difference in silencer performance for different silencer types would change on shorter barrels. And I told him that yes. And that's not only because certain silencers take advantage of higher pressure in different ways, but also because of the decay law and the proximity of the shooter's ear. So it's complicated, but I think he was actually asking Sandman K, Sandman S, and Sandman L, if I remember correctly. He was asking about those three, and he was saying like 20-inch versus 16-inch. And I was like, well, I think on 16-inch you're going to notice more the difference between them because they're going to be closer to your ear, and But with the Hyperion K versus the Radiant, I think, and I explained this last year, I forgot what episode it was, with the Hyperion K and the Radiant, you already see in the sound signature review on 20-inch 308 that rugged Radiant is louder than the Hyperion K. But when you go to 16-inch, I bet you the Hyperion K is even quieter than the Radiant, more quiet than it was on 20. I'm not saying the Hyperion K is getting quieter on 16-inch than it was on 20. That's crazy. No, what I'm saying is the gap between the two silencers, I think, widens in performance because I think the Hyperion K is more high-pressure optimized. Does that make sense? So that was a really long way of saying I used that on 308 last year, but now I'm using the full-size Hyperion because reasons. So let me know, man. Like which hunting silencers are you using? I mean, I want to know. It's going to help me to know. When you tell me things, it helps me because it's going to help me plan some future articles, and I want to know what you guys are actually using. And some of you tell me stuff all the time, but a lot of the interaction I have is with folks that are looking for silencers, not necessarily who have them or talk about the ones they have. So, a few of you show off your collection sometimes, which I think is cool. Like, are any of you folks like hunting with super old silencers? Like an old AWC or like an original ops stuff or like an old Gemtech or AAC. Like, that's cool. I think it's cool. Let me know, man. I love to see photos. I love to see photos if you have them, or especially when you're with your kills. I love those photos. I love it. Pictures are great. I love to see hunting success suppressed, like even especially with equipment from the old days. Like, that's like, I don't know. It's like nostalgic for me. It's cool. So anyway, that was a short topic. That's really just a discussion point. Just wanted to, talk with you folks about that. I think it's hunting season. I enjoy talking with you. All right. Let's move into topic 3 at a time of 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 22 seconds. Oh, yeah. PEW Science members, you're loyal. You're vocal, which is very good, and your support is amazing. Your support, it's monetary, but it's also like emotional and philosophical, which is super cool. So welcome to a few of you joined since last time. Thank you for your support. That's awesome. A lot of you guys are suggesting things to me for ideas you could have. One guy was like, you should make a PEW Science app. And I was like, that's actually a really, really cool idea. Also, I'm not going to do that right now, but awesome idea. And he's actually not the first person to ask me to do that. I don't really know why you would want an app, but he did explain. He had some good points, I think. So yeah, that was cool. So welcome to the member. Welcome to our clients. Took on some new R&D clients recently. So thank you for your business. If you folks are listening to this podcast, thank you for your business. Look forward to working with you. Look forward to working with you folks and helping you better understand your silencers. I think that's That's really what I want. So thank you. And I'm glad you found PEW Science. The consumer members of PEW Science, you guys are so great. And I have a couple of administrative items I do need to discuss with you. If you haven't logged in for a while, you might want to do so. Some of you, when your card, you sign up with a credit card, sometimes when your card gets stolen or something, and the email that is sent by the automated system to let you know that your PEW Science billing needs to be updated is getting caught in spam. And so then you don't see it, and then your membership gets canceled. And then you write me and you're like, hey, I can't log in. I'm like, yeah. It's because your card, you didn't update your card, dude. And it's like, oh man, I'm sorry. And so I try to help you. Like I did try to do everything I can. I was like, hey, reach out. Like email me, tech@pewscience.com. If you have any issues, if you can't log in for some reason and something's going on, shoot me an email, tech@pewscience.com. When you email that, I get the email and I check it out and we talk about it and figure it out. It's no problem. I can go into the back end there and help you. I can get you fixed up pretty quickly. In most cases, it's pretty quick. So no problem. Yeah. So, deer season, I will say deer season opens this coming weekend. And I have something to tell you. Look, I may not actually be hunting this opening weekend, but to those of you who will be, and I really want you to hear this, okay? To those of you who will be hunting this season, opening weekend, specifically opening weekend, first thing I want to tell you is good luck. The second thing I want to tell you is try not to shoot those young bucks. Let them grow. At least until the next weekend. Okay, guys, come on, man. How do you grow a big deer? You got to let them grow to be big, yeah? Some of you people in Michigan listen to me, you're about to kill me. I know, understand it's different there. All the bucks get shot instantly. But try to... And you know what? I understand if you're not on managed land and you just need meat for the freezer, far be it from me to tell you what to shoot, but... I'm being a little, I'm joshing you a little bit. I'm being a little bit, I'm joking with you a little bit, but I am also being serious in that it is our duty as conservationists to kill gigantic trophy deer. So let them grow. All right. Have a good one. I will talk with you folks again soon. Bye.